Part 1 MB is an exam that every medical student looks forward to pass, and I was able to pass my Part 1 MB in one sitting. In this video, I'm going to be telling you how I managed to pass my Part 1 MB, difficulties I faced, and also I'm going to be giving you an advice concerning how you should approach your Part 1 MB. So Part 1 MB is an exam that comprises of three major courses, which are anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. So the anatomy is broken down into 4 components, which are gross anatomy, histology, embryology, and neuroanatomy. So the gross anatomy comprises of gross anatomy of the upper and lower limb, gross anatomy of the thorax, abdomen, pelvis, and perineum, and then gross anatomy of the head and neck. So you do your upper and lower limb in year 2 first semester, and then you do your thorax, abdomen, and perineum, pelvis, and perineum in your year 2 second semester for the gross anatomy. Then in your year 3 you do the gross anatomy of the head and neck. For histology, you're going to be learning systemic histology and other components of histology that has to do with epithelium and some other components. You're going to be learning systems like the respiratory system, particularly the lungs and the trachea, which some of the cells which are going to be examining with a microscope. And then you're going to be learning histology of the, as for the systemic histology, you're going to be learning the hepatobiliary system, genitourinary system, muscular system, lymphatic system, the digestive system. You're going to be learning the various organs, their epithelium and their epithelial structures and their histological structures. So for the embryology, you're going to be learning is embryology, which has to do with development of the human embryo. You're going to be learning about embryology, that's development of the various organs of the body, of the various systems and various organs of the body. You're also going to be learning embryology of like you're going to be learning about fertilization and the intra-embryonic cilium, and also you're going to be learning about gastrulation and blastocyst formation. So embryology is quite a lot. So for embryology, we usually use clinicals of medical embryology by Vishram Singh, and then there are also some videos that can also use on YouTube for like Ninja Nerds and some other videos. For the neuroanatomy is quite vast, and I personally dislike neuroanatomy to some extent because it's quite vast. Like a lot they have to learn in neuroanatomy. You're going to be learning blood supply to the brain or blood supply to the spinal cord. You're going to be learning about the various components of the brain. That's the thalamus, the limbic system. You're not going to be learning their gross structure. You're going to be learning their neuron, like the cellular components, the neurocellular components of those structures, of those components of the brain. That's what neuroanatomy has to do with, and the terms in neuroanatomy is quite vast. You're also going to be learning about sensory system, sensory receptors. There are a lot of topics that you have to learn in neuroanatomy. So let me go to physiology. For physiology, you're going to be learning about in your first semester. You're going to be learning 3 courses. That's gastrointestinal physiology. You're going to be learning blood physiology and introductory physiology, and then you're going to be learning also renal physiology, cardiovascular system physiology, and respiratory physiology. Then you're also going to be learning central nervous system physiology, endocrine physiology, and peripheral nervous system physiology. So then for biochemistry, you're going to be learning a lot in biochemistry. Biochemistry is, to some extent, is quite easy. The textbook I usually use for biochemistry is Vasudevan Biochemistry and Essentials of Medical Biochemistry by Pankaj Naik. So for that Essentials of Biochemistry, you're going to be learning a lot of topics like carbohydrates chemistry, protein chemistry, lipid chemistry, carbohydrate metabolism, lipid metabolism, protein metabolism, lipid metabolism, xenobiotics, chemistry of hemoglobin, metabolism of nucleotides, biological oxidation. We're going to be learning a lot of other topics also in biochemistry, like the biochemistry, endocrine biochemistry, that's mechanism of action of hormones, and then we're going to be learning enzymology. Enzymology, that's the classes of enzymes. That's those six classes: poly, oxidoreductases, ligases, lyases, hydrolases, transferases. All those enzymes, you're going to be learning them. And then for the biochemistry, the major aspect, the difficult aspect of biochemistry is actually the metabolism aspect. Because metabolism, you're going to be cramming pathways like the um, glycolytic pathway, tricarboxylic acid pathway, glucuronic acid pathways, and a lot of pathways. Like even the metabolism of nucleotides has purine synthesis, purine degradation, like that's purine catabolization, and then the pyrimidine has pyrimidine synthesis and pyrimidine degradation. All those synthesis and degradation, they have their own pathways, and that purine and pyrimidine, we did it in year two second semester. So that one is, you have to cram that pathway during that period, and also they have some clinical correlations like gout, Lesion syndrome, and SCID, syndrome of immunodeficiency diseases. That's when amino deaminase is deficient. Then those, I've talked about the three causes. I've given you an overview of what the three causes entails. So I'm going to be talking about my difficult aspect of how my difficulties I faced. So the major difficulties I faced in these three courses are primarily histology, neuroanatomy, and metabolism of. Then for the biochemistry, you're going to be learning nutritional biochemistry. That's water soluble and lipid soluble vitamins. That the water soluble vitamins, which are the vitamin C and vitamin B. Then for the lipid soluble vitamins, that vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. So the major difficulty I faced was those pathways. Like at first is a lot, but you need to be very good. Like you need to try to memorize those pathways. Even biological oxidation, that's electron transport chain has its own pathway, which occurs in the mitochondrial matrix. So during your exams, you need to cram those pathways so you can, because they're going to ask you those pathways in your exam. So then also, okay, for the histology is basically identifying the slides that was quite difficult for me. The theoretical aspect and the MCQ aspect was not very difficult, but identifying those slides was not very easy because sometimes what you see during your practicals is not what you see during your exam. So where my major strength was in gross anatomy, because gross anatomy, when you study, most of the time what you study might come out. But for that histology now, that histology, you need to identify the slide, you need to snap it during your practical so that you can look at them later. When you snap them, you label them, like you write on them and label them with your app, with your gallery app. Then for the neuroanatomy, the difficult aspect was that those, like, some components of the brain, like we'll be asking about the ventricles of the brain and the cerebellum, like the cells of the cerebellum and the mechanism of action of the cerebellum. Like, the cerebellum helps to mediate posture and balancing. So it has a lot of cells, like those nuclei, fastigial nuclei, emboliform nuclei, and globosus nuclei. Then the another difficult aspect of anatomy is that one that they'll ask you transverse section of the medulla oblongata at the level of the pyramidal deposition, at the level of the there are different levels where 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 they usually identify the medulla oblongata. So they also ask you transverse section of the midbrain at the level of the superior colliculi, at the level of the inferior colliculi. Then they will ask you transverse section of the pons, transverse section of the pons. So these are the major things. So let me talk about how I managed to pass. Okay, how I managed to pass was that I had one thing about, if you want to pass your part 1 MB, you need to get a good CA. So at least a CA of 17, 18, 19. For I'll advise that for anatomy, you get a CA of about 17 and above. Then for biochemistry, get a CA of 18 and above. 18, 19, 20. Don't get below 18, like for biochemistry. Don't get below don't get below don't get below 18 for physiology, because physiology, sometimes the practical can be something else like physiology. So you just have to try and get good CA, because CA is very important. CA is very important because maintenance, like the courses, physiology, anatomy, and biochemistry, they are very broad, and you cannot just depend on your part 1 MB, the particular exam, for you to cover up. You cannot use that part 1 MB to do academic comeback. You need to have a good CA for you to pass. So that was how I was able to pass. I got, in my anatomy, I got a CA of 17.4. In my physiology, I got a CA of 18.4. And then in my biochemistry, I got a CA of 18.1. So that was how I was able to pass. Then basically that was able to pass. Then when the result was out, I got 58 in anatomy. I got 54 in biochemistry, and I got 51 in physiology. I nearly went below borderline in physiology, sincerely. It was not easy because I faced a lot of academic difficulty due to where we are living and a lot of things. Because most times at night I will need to look for what to go and charge my phone enough for me to be able to read, because most of my textbooks are on my phone, because buying hard copy is not easy. Like it hard copy, for you to get hard copy, a lot of money. So basically that was how I was able to pass. So my advice is that try as much as possible during your in-course exams, like during your semester exams, like when you're in year two first semester, either you're in year two first semester, you're in year two second semester, or you're in year two fourth semester, like you're in year three first semester. Because after your year three first semester, you're going to be given 6 weeks to prepare for. I don't know how they do it in your school, but in our school, after year two, year three first semester, they give us 6 weeks to prepare for our part one MB. So that was when I used the time I used to prepare for my part one MB. So during your normal semester exams, try to get above 60 and above, or above 55. Try and be getting, I don't be getting below 55, because it's not really a good score, and it's very risky, because a lot can happen during your main exams. So just try your best. So for the how they calculate it is that your first semester year two comprises of 10%, your second semester year two comprises of 10%, while your um while your year three first semester comprises of 10%. So all of them comprises of 30%. Then your main exam, that's your part one MB main exam, comprises of your 70%. So how they calculate it is that for example, if you had three physiology courses in your year two, in your year three, in your year two first semester, you had three physiology courses like gastrointestinal physiology, blood physiology, and introductory physiology. You If you got 60, 60, 60, you add it up and divide it by 3 and divide it by 30. That's assuming you had 100, 100, 100 to be 300, divided by 30, everything will now be 10. So that's how you get 10%, 10%, 10%. That's everything 30%, plus your 70% in your exam, that's 100%. So that's how the 100 is calculated. So the pass mark for part 1 MB is 50%. So try as much as possible to get a good CA. That's my major advice. Get a good CA. During your in course, try as much as possible to score very high, so that you'll be able to pass. Because passing is very important. Some persons in our school received while some failed out. So you wouldn't want to fail after paying all your school fee in year one, year two, year three, and then you now fail out of medical school. So it won't be nice. So I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. All the best, bro. All the best.